Hello everyone and welcome to Medieval 2 Total War 3v3 Battle Replay. Now I'd be wondering to yourself, well hold on a second, what happened to NTW3? Don't worry, NTW3 is not going anywhere. I'm gonna be honest, I have not played Medieval 2 multiplayer and I would say almost, or at least consistently, for I would say almost a year. I've really been into Napoleon Total War for the longest time. Medieval 2 is not necessarily the most tactical Total War games, especially compared to Medieval 2 or Empire. Yeah, I'm sorry, especially compared to Napoleon or Empire, or especially NTW3. However, it's still a good game. Like also not the most realistic of games either. Like missiles in this game, way too powerful, but nonetheless, it's still a fun game. This replay just came to mind to me because I still remember this replay. It was really different from your average Medieval 2 battle replay. I was also the host of this game, and I usually did rules differently from everyone else. Like, usually, like, rules back then were like max 6 cav, no elephants, no guns, no artillery. I didn't like those rules, because, personally, first off, I didn't like too much cav. Generally, anywhere from 4 to 6, that was all I needed, because generally, if you had a lot of cavalry, it often, like, kind of limited factions. Like, oh, well, you can pretty much only play as these factions because, I mean, they have good cavalry. So, like, pretty much everyone here is playing as a good faction. Like, we have 3 French players and Spanish player, Holy Roman Emperor. I'm just going to call him German player, and then I'm playing as the Moors. I'm probably the weakest faction here of everyone else. I'm playing as the Moors, as I said. And, I would also allow guns, I just wouldn't allow musketeers, because I didn't have a problem with arquebusiers or, like, handgunners. It was just musketeers that were the overpowered gun unit. I allowed artillery, and obviously no elephants, because elephants are overpowered in this game. But, I mean, well, I guess, you know, I played it really differently, and I might want to get back into, like, the kind of 3v3s, 4v4s. I also didn't like flat maps, because they just always was really repetitive. It's like if you weren't rushing, you're disadvantaging yourself, and I haven't played Medieval 2 multiplayer in a long time, but I still have some of the knowledge within me. So, I am playing as the Moors. Moors at this time, again, this was like months, if not like more than a year ago. But at this time, Moors were like perhaps my favorite faction. I liked the Grenadian crossbowmen they had, solid infantry. They didn't have any pikemen, but they also had the peasant crossbowmen, and I also brought Sudanese gunners too. So that was pretty cool. I didn't bring any Grenadian heavy crossbowmen. I brought 1 piece of artillery as well. And then over here we have the German player, the Holy Roman Empire. He's commanded by Vladek. Again, so he's bringing Teutonic Knights. The Holy Roman Empire has the best cavalry in the game. Teutonic Knights are absolutely insane. Landsknecht pikemen, obviously, he's bringing 1 artillery piece as well. And Spain, commanded by Livernicus, I think. As I say his name. He's bringing Conquistadors, pretty much the best infantry in the game. Again, bringing just simple infantry, nothing too crazy. Also, 1 artillery piece. Very interesting. Then we have 3 French players over here on the French left. We have Ululululu. Again, France was also another one of my favorites. The Aventuriers were also very good. I don't think I liked France as much as I do now. I'm pretty sure I wasn't actually a big fan of France back then, so nowadays I'm, you know, basically a French fanboy, but yes, he's bringing pretty much your average French stuff. Flemish pikemen, I don't know why I get Flemish on the side of the French, but it's not shipping knights. I think I don't know if he brought any artillery. No, he brought I think one pair of guns. We have the other French player in the center, commanded Vegas McSwagger. Bring Lancers. Now, Lancers aren't actually the greatest to have. They're actually kind of overpriced and don't actually do what they're worth, because generally Chivalric Knights cost significantly less. I don't know if he was a less experienced player at this time, or just never bring Lancers. Always bring Chivalric Knights or Noble Knights as friends. They are not good, not worth their money. He's currently running his men in a hurry to position himself. I don't know if he brought any guns. I don't know firearms, but I'm not sure if he brought any guns. Well, we'll certainly find out eventually. And on the French right here, we have Edwardsk, also playing as France again. Everyone is playing as France here. You see Noble. These are the guys. You don't want to be bringing Lancers. You want to bring Noble Knights. Lancers just aren't worth the price. They look cool as hell, but I mean, just aren't that good. Flemish pikemen. Scotsguard. Yeah, Scotsguard are interesting because they can not only shoot, kind of like Aventurier in Scotsguard, they can not only shoot, but they're actually competent in melee. Voltigeurs. Now, Voltigeurs, however, are not a very good unit because of the... I'm not sure if many of you guys are familiar, but there's a thing in vanilla Medieval 2 called the two-handed glitch. So because of the two-handed glitch, Voltigeurs just not very good. But yes, again, so right off the bat, I decided to get very close to my teammates. They decided to meet on this open, plowed, muddy fields. So I immediately get over here to meet up with my teammates. This is the immediate strategy here. Take a look at some of the French Edwardists sending up some French mad archers. I quickly turn, thinking I can catch him off guard. However, he, I think I don't even miss. Just barely just lands him there, warding them off. I thought I could just quickly turn to get them, but yeah, these archers, yeah, pretty brutal. Killing a few there. About what? That's about 1, 2, about 5. I'm also using a program called Reshade to enhance the graphics of this game because it's pretty old. So just do not make your eyes look like you're looking at a potato. A potato. I did decide to use this program. Here's some guns, cannons. I do believe serpentines are the best field guns in the game. Right here, yes. Anyway, so look at our tactics here. It's gonna be. This is obviously Medieval 2 does not have any objectives or anything like that. Like Medieval 2, NTW3. So this is gonna be a artillery duel. So yeah, right off the bat. So let's go and fast forward here. We're just setting up our armies. No real action at the moment, but we have some artillery fire coming in. I see the French guns firing. Setting up his guns. Serpentine. Just kind of marching up. Now, already, right off the bat, I'm no Medieval 2 expert, but I still have some of the memories retained in my mind. This is not really how you want to use pikemen. What you really want to be doing is either you want to be... and then again, he might be actually using them correctly. It might just be that he's spreading them out. But maybe if we ever get to see him in melee combat, I could probably, I guess, explain. I guess I could see if he's actually using pikemen correctly in this game. And Scotsguard, Swiss pikemen. I believe Swiss pikemen are, in my opinion, are the best pikemen in the game because they're not too expensive, at least in vanilla. They're not too expensive. They have the highest attack out of any pikemen in the game. So historically, Swiss pikemen were kind of the best pikemen. So. I think the only unit that might be better is the Portuguese Aventuros, but they're ridiculously expensive compared to Swiss pikemen. He's marching up his cavalry here. It kind of like a forward screen. He has his guns here. Setting up. And this is really interesting. The French making a pretty wide flanking maneuver around. He might, especially in these forests, it'd be very hard to see. The trees don't actually provide any. It's just some of his men are already winded because they've been running. But the trees don't actually provide any terrain penalties in this game for some reason. However, it would be pretty difficult to see your men and control them. I remember I hated trees in this game. Again, for the same reason, I just could not see anything, and I hated it. So I immediately start marching the men to match him. Now, arquebusiers do not have the same range as something like these crossbowmen here, or these Pavese crossbowmen, or Aventurier, or Scotsguard. They have like a mid-tier range. However, because they kind of hold this high ground, they will have about equivalent range. Here the guns going off. Again, most of these artillery hits are not necessarily going to be the most, how do I put it? No, most successful, as all lines are so linear in this game. Yeah, shooting from very, very far distance as well. Following these cannonballs. Where are they going to land? Killing one poor Pavese crossbowman. Yeah, as you can see, it's going to be a very whittling, just artillery duel, counter battery fire-esque. So they've actually killed a few men. Oh, wow, that was actually a really effective hit, killing a lot of the artillery crews there. As you see, over here we have some cavalry action. This is also going to be new for me, because I haven't seen this replay in a long time. It just kind of came to my mind. Oh, and over here, we have some counter engagement from my side. Charging the infantry, which are already very tired, either from fighting in melee combat, but they have some armored sergeants which, wielding spears, can protect them against cavalry. And I think I end up trying to charge, but I think we, for some reason... No, these are French-handed archers. Whoops. So I charged some of his Aventurier, taking some casualties myself, but killing quite a few of them. They're like this little circle skill trim formation thing. Again, the fact that spears have like a bonus against cavalry doesn't really make any sense, because basically all infantry in this time period use spears, but who knows. Yeah, so as you can see, we have been trading fire. It's a pretty close cannonball there, killing a few. As you can see, we've just been trading fire, between guns. He's stepping his forces right here, not only on the low ground, but also really, really isolated from the rest of his teammates. The next significant force is the French Lancers, which they are good. It's just that they're overpriced and generally are not worth their money, as I previously have mentioned. Again, we have French guns opening fire. These are basilisks. Now, basilisks are more siege guns, so not really field guns. Serpentines and basilisks, for some reason, even though despite the fact that basilisks are much, much heavier guns, have the same range. So I don't know really why I decided to bring basilisks out. So he's bring quite a few guns here. He's brought 2 serpentines, 1 basilisk. Is this the same player? That's Bacon's big swagger with his 6 guns. And over here, this is... No, this is not the same player. So they definitely outnumber us in terms of guns. And over here is Edwardisk as well, moving a significant flanking force. So as you can see, he has some action. It's very hard to see through these trees. As you see here. So we have some German crossbowmen moving over. They're in the loose formation, as we used to say. So this would basically just make them more vulnerable to cavalry charges, but and more vulnerable in melee, but would reduce your chances of getting hit by missiles, or at least make the missiles not as effective in terms of artillery. I also sent some German Teutonic Knights, which are, I believe, the most. I think they are the best cavalry unit in the game. I think the second best is like the Royal Mamluks of Egypt, and third might be, I don't remember exactly, but I think it might have been just Chivalric Knights, which I do believe the French have. But I do not remember exactly. So again, these are the my crossbowmen, the 1 crossbowman I decided to bring, because they do have long range, so I think that's why I brought them. Generally, I preferred rushing back in these days, so I generally brought 2 of these guys and some gunners to back my men up, because guns do inflict morale penalties, so I usually kind of put the gunners in the rear and shoot at the flanks of them in the gaps, and that would usually cause them to break. That's one of the tactics I like to do. I liked to use back then. Excuse my English. So we just have a very big, just counter battery fire, and just trade really. You can see some generally light casualties, nothing to a very great extent. Yeah, it's, you know, some are smart and deciding to shoot at the forces themselves. Kind of a few Scots Guard there. But generally, most of the interesting action is over on the right flank. It's very hard to see because of the trees. It does appear that Edwardisk doing some cavalry through the woods. These are noblements. These are the same equivalent of the Chivalric Knights. These are the French-mounted archers that have been harassing my men previously. I did not bring any horse archers. I don't know why. I did not bring any Grenadian mounted crossbowmen as the Moors, but it's been a while since I played this. Yes. Thank you for the Germans for sending over some of their crossbowmen. I did not have the most skirmishers on the planet, and they were using those skirmishers, so we could definitely easily send those men over. My cavalry have just been getting shot from the French guns. And you have the French mounted archers just skirmishing my men, being annoying as they usually do. However, we do have some I guess, supporting fire coming from the German crossbowmen helping me out. And we have some of the armored sergeants, which are generally not the best in melee, but they do have bonuses against cavalry. Coming up through the up through the hill and through the trees. I'm sending some Hashim, which are a really small but elite unit. It's a pretty solid infantry unit. Coming to check them. sword-wielding infantry. Saber. Buckler. I believe how it works is these guys have 2 HP instead of having 60 models, since we're on normal unit side. So, I believe that's how it works. We got it. There's some French mounted archers. Again, just harassing, being annoying, as the point of these archers. Really should have brought some myself. We have some Spanish cavalry from Lavernicus, Knights of Santiago. I do believe these are like... I do believe they have basically the same stats of chivalric knights. Very, very similar. So they're pretty good cavalry. He's charging the mounted sergeants off guard, unready for combat. Catching them in melee combat. He's probably going to pull them out pretty soon as they deal with most of his cavalry, which I believe he is doing right now. Ooh, oh man, that's some friendly fire from us there as well. I do believe I set these men up here to check, yes, the Aventurier, which I didn't bring many missile units, so wasn't much checking them. Just me getting pounded by missiles here. He's pulling out his men there. Not sure if that was necessarily an amazing charge, but yes, then the German Teutonic Knights checking the advance here. Again, French mounted archers running up again. Kind of using a bit of a caraco tactic. We run up to them. Simply run away, not exhausting our men, as they are much lighter, so their fatigue goes down a lot less quickly. Yes, I believe. I'm not sure if that's actually mechanic, but I believe so. They're also faster, so. Yeah, so you have these English crossbowmen just kind of trading fire with the Aventurier, skirmishing with us in the woods. Armored crossbowmen, basically. They are better than the Pavi's crossbowmen of the Germans. There's some cavalry action here. Yeah, starting their armored sergeants like this. In reality, these things would get picked apart because they're so spread out by cavalry, but because of the way the Commodus versus cavalry works in this game, that is actually going to scare off the Spanish cavalry. These French mounted archers being a pain in our ass, thorn in our side. Again, still those French, Spanish, and German guns. I wonder where my guns are at this point in time. Here. Oh yes, I decided to start shooting at their infantry since they were so close and on a lower point of position. As you can see, you can see from the bombardment. So actually very tightly grouped together as well. Just one, yeah, both those shots miss. But you can just imagine a few guys. You can actually see some of the results. My guns here. French are definitely winning this artillery fight. They do have significantly more guns. Artillery do. But as you can see, because of my guns, they've been just constantly pounding the infantry. They're also very tired as they've been running over here. I don't know what Edward was thinking this time, running his men like that. There you go, so there, he ended up hitting some of his infantry there. They're very much more tightly close together, not all of them in a loose formation. I have some my Christian Guard, which is my heavy cavalry, basically, under fire from the Scots Guard there. I wonder what they're going to be doing. Some my own Christian Guard, some French mounted archers. I think I tried encircling the French mounted archers here, which I end up clipping them, but I actually end up catching them. He's sending in the noble knights, though. And catching them off guard here. I am, yes, that was not very good cavalry engagement for us there. Christian Guard are good cavalry, but they're not as good as the French noble / chivalric knights. We have some German heavy cavalry. Teutonic knights coming. He's retreating from the fight, so I am going to pursue him. He's General's bodyguard. General's bodyguard are very elite, but again, they're kind of small, so they can get outflanked pretty easily. He's sending his lancers. No, this is Vegas Mixed Swagger's lancers. I'm going to charge into my Sudanese gunners. My Sudanese gunners, I think, yes, they're going to run away. I do not have anything to check them. We have, however, we have the General's bodyguard of the Germans going to come in. I do have my dismounted Christian Guard, which are going to at least slightly, I guess, hold them up. My Sudis thankfully are not going to break from the fighting. And over here we have a massive cavalry battle that's developed. Seems to be in favor of the French. Yes, and it is breaking my men. And they completely surrounded them, and that there is pretty much a majority of my cavalry gone. Not a very good cavalry engagement for us. You hear the other guns going off. I actually see them in the background there too. We have some German Teutonic Knights, again, very elite cavalry from Germans. I think they have the highest charge bonus in the entire game, Teutonic Knights. Spanish cavalry here too. Again, Lancers aren't necessarily bad, they're just overpriced. Some more Lancers. Teutonic Knights are trying to catch off this Lancer unit, but it is managed to escape. It has managed to escape. They're going to go for a counterattack. Now I think they have some others support from fellow Lancers into the trees. Now obviously terrain doesn't have much of an impact in this game. Usually it's the high ground that has the most impact. But it's going to seem like he's going to try to get out of there. He's going to send in his Teutonic Knights. He's sending more of these noble knights from Edward is charging in. Also, going to try and get my skirmishers, maybe my artillery. There isn't much protecting them aside from these dismounted Christian Guard. And because my artillery has been pounding his forces for so long, you can see the devastation has caused upon his army. He's going to move up. He needs to assault my position because he's tired of my artillery constantly pounding his positions. Not necessarily the best positioning there from Edwardisk. I'm sure all of these players have improved since then. It's genuinely been months upon months since this replay has been saved. Oh, we got the Spanish cavalry charging into the French. Breaking some of them. As you see, the French are just chasing down the Germans here. French do have good cavalry. Actually, they have broken a lot of the French skirmishers. Aventurier, I believe. Yeah, I have not played this game in a long time. Just this replay came to mind to me. I want to show it to you guys. So yes, I have some infantry support coming to help the help our allies here against the French Lancers. Ooh, we got some artillery fire actually coming in. Some missiles coming in as well as support. Some more Spanish cavalry by Levernicus. These Frenchmen are just still alive somehow, firing into our lines, killing a few, at least wounding. Yes. These are urban militia. They aren't necessarily the same as the Christian Guard. I think they just have armor upgrades, which makes them look very similar to the Christian Guard. Just a lesser Christian Guard, really. Need even more upgrades. My guns, instead of turning them over here, his allies have decided to support his attack. I don't know why, really. I feel like what they should have done is he should have abandoned that part and let their guns rip into our lines. Anyway, his Scots Guard are definitely going to be about on par to the crossbowmen. Our Aventurier are definitely better. He's sending some cavalry to skirmish with the enemy. His guns here are going to kind of, especially at close range, could actually be pretty deadly. They might want to take those out. He's decided to call it off, though. Here you have the General's Bodyguard of France and some of the... Oh, yes, actually, this is like another General's Bodyguard, like an early period General's Bodyguard, which some players used to confuse the enemy. It's not really a bad cavalry overall either. You have some cavalry skirmishers, and over here we have a mass melee. French actually starting to get the upper hand in this battle. I said my Christian Guard against the dismounted feudal knights and the dismounted noble knights. Scots Guard, but again, the Scots Guard are not terrible in melee. He's not using his pikemen properly. What he really should be doing is double layering the Voltigeurs over with the pikemen, and then kind of halting his men, and then telling them to attack. I do believe the Tower Project has made an excellent video as to how to use pikemen properly, but it's so far just kind of developed this one massive blob. I do appear to be slightly winning, and you have the Germans flanking the French.
They have lost half their men.
With the balance of power here. I believe that is about half of this force's men. With the cavalry coming in here. Look at this right flank over here. Looks like we got some skirmishing from both sides. Cavalry skirmishing. French have decided to charge in to the French lines, to the skirmishers, using up his conquistadors, which will beat Chitan Chivalric Knights. Over here, it's kind of a little more of a stalemate. He has his pikemen up front, protecting any frontal cavalry charges. And over here, we do appear to be winning this fight, even though despite the fact that these Christian Guard are breaking. He's actually charging into the gunners here. However, I'm checking them with some extra Christian Guard.
Mercy. We have lost half of our men.
So my force has lost about half of its men so far. Has been under the most pressure out of anyone else here so far. He's starting to outflank my men with these lancers. I do have my general's bodyguard in reserve there. The Germans are now retreating, falling back their men, needing their skirmishers as a bit of a buffer force. These pikemen, again, not really using his pikemen properly. Really should be double layering them and doing the halt attack.
General lies dead.
Oh, which one was that?
Now his men fear us.
I wonder which one was that. I don't know if this was this general or whose. It doesn't. Usually there's a notification here that shows, but for some reason there is no notification at the moment. It might have been this French general. The Spaniards have kind of retreated to hopefully a more reformed position. You have some of the chivalric knights just kind of most like forget about them over here. You got pretty big melee combat here between the skirmishers and the proper infantry. Proper infantry are basically going to win this fight against these skirmishers. And he's set up a very defensive line, very well packed. Now, the Germans actually look like they're going to use them properly. Oh man, we gotta go back to this fight up here. And as you can see, we've started to breaking the French.
Our men have slain the infidel general.
I do not know what general that
The
is.
serpent's head has been cut off.
But so far the French have
Tail
lost
is
2 of their
short to wither.
generals. As you can see, obviously they're going to break these skirmishers over the proper infantry of the Germans. He's putting his men in guard mode, and this is one way to do it. However, generally what you would want to do is kind of, again, kind of overlap them what you are doing here. And then when they touch the enemy, you want to be halting and attacking them. That's generally what you would be doing. Because then it will allow the full use of the pikemen with a barrier in between them. So the French have lost all 3 of their generals so far. So their morale is going to collapse very quickly. The Spaniards, just pick up this very brutal melee fighting here. So it seems like the forces have switched sides. The French catching might have killed their general over here. Catching the French general. I forgot, this might have been the cause of death. And here's because you have the French lines engaging the Germans. See if they're going to use their pikes properly. Doesn't appear like you really want to be halting and attacking with your pikemen with something as a buffer between you and them. He's starting to make some outflanking attempts. However, my forces have come out on top against the French. This is my general's bodyguard going against his general's bodyguard. He has lost his general though. All the French generals have died. As he has sent some men in order, again, not using his pikemen properly. Going to be double layering them, and then halting and attacking, not using his pikemen properly. He's sending some units to delay my advance. I really should be, right now, I really should be sending these gunners over, running them over, setting them up, shooting into their flanks, using the remainder of my cavalry to charge, quickly obliterate this force. That's going to resist my presence. It's a very, very big line battle between the Germans and the French here. See, they're not actually fighting, they're just kind of like behind them holding their pikes up like this. Now he's starting to outflank them. You know, the Germans desperately trying to stop them. I am finally sitting on my guns, so you're going to start shooting at the flanks of them. And the Spaniards, very brutal fighting. Almost no real winners over here. You have the French skirmishers back here, being charged by the Spanish proper infantry. This very healthy unit of conquistadors. Which will shred through them. It seems like the Spanish have pursued the French on the right side and are now turning over to hopefully perform some sort of envelopment of the French skirmishers. And the German general here as well.
The enemy are badly bloodied.
And you have some of the Frenchmen starting to break here, attacking the German lines. Again, I'm actually not shooting at their flanks, as I do believe I'm sending my... Oh man, this is... If they could somehow break this German left flank, This could result in disaster and could result in the breaking, and they could quickly turn around and defeat me and hopefully defeat the Spaniards as the skirmishing force delays their advance. I do actually charge them into the rear, which I think causes a lot of the men in the center to break. With the rest of my infantry showing up, it's not looking very good for the red team. It really should be the blue team. They're all French, but... Red team are showing up in the rear. My infantry starting to outflank them, helping out the Germans. A bloody day. These Flemish pikemen, I believe, took out my guns. One of them was destroyed. But at this point, for the French, it's practically over. They're completely enveloped. Right now, they're just cleaning up the stragglers of the army. And I believe the only thing really left is, yeah, some returned straggling units and the guns of the French army. Let's fast forward. So yeah, very interesting replay. I have a few more of these. Like I think I have like a pike and shot replay I want to show you guys maybe someday. It's really interesting. Mabel 2 is just it's just an interesting game. So again, if you guys are gonna send me replays, preferably no siege battles. Never been a big fan of siege battles in this game, and no super flat maps. Give me some like terrain
Victory is
diversity.
ours. A victory both righteous and well-deserved.
Yes.
It cannot be said otherwise.
As you see, we have enemies killed. I killed the most, 128 prisoners. It looks like a Lavernicus, yes, killed the second most, followed by Vladik. Overall, most kills went to me. Most forces remaining go to the Spaniards, Lavernicus. Well done there. If we look at the unit stats here, the most kills go to... Lycan's got 51, which is a nice amount for artillery in this game. Yeah, these Christian Guard heavy cavalry seem to have gotten the most kills. My Sudanese gunners getting 84 and 58, which is actually pretty cool. But generally guns are very underrated in this game. General's bodyguard getting 18. So well done to every player in this game. However, again, most players have improved since the playing of this game. So I'm sure if people made bad mistakes here, either they're probably not even playing this game anymore, or they're just have improved significantly since this was fought months and months and months ago. I just kind of thought about Medieval 2, and I just kind of wanted to show this replay to you guys. It's a really unique replay, very nice, pretty close. It wasn't really the absolute closest of battles, however, it was pretty tactical, very unique for most of the games. Again, send me your replays at the email link in the description. I'll pretty much take Empire Total War, NTW3, Medieval 2. I think those are the games I will take. So, anyway, if you guys like the video, just like the video. If you like it, logic. See you guys.